My Arcade, the manufacturer of these little handheld and tabletop video game arcade toys that we all enjoy collecting so much, has been very hush-hush ever since they made such a big splash back at CES 2023. You remember I did a lot of coverage right here on GenXGrownUp showing like what they had in the pipeline, and they had this Gamestation Plus, and they had Pocket Players and Microplayers and other things that we saw, and then nothing, like radio silent. And you can ask my contact over at My Arcade. I'm not going to blow her up. Let's call her Q for the time being. That's appropriately James Bondy. But if you asked Q at My Arcade, she would tell you, yeah, John emails me about every week or two or three saying, anything new, anything new, anything new. And the answer always comes back to me, not yet. You'll be the first to know when something comes along. Well, I haven't yet heard back from Q from My Arcade. However, some information has leaked recently. It's not quite official from My Arcade, but there are some listings on an online wholesaler that suggest not only at answering some of the questions we had, but shining some more light on what products we have and a name change for those products. I'm going to run it all down for you right after this. This video brought to you in part by Tommy and the Order of Cosmic Champions. This exciting and heartwarming coming-of-age Gen X novel is available now. Check the link for more info. Hey there, welcome back to Gen X Grown Up. I'm John, and I am a Gen X Grown Up. Thank you so much for the click. And before we get into all this info, I just want to really quickly thank my buddy, the infamous bandit Atari Age bootlegger Draxon, who is known to you and I as the guy who put together the update package for that Flashback Gold a couple of months back. He's well known in the Atari and the gaming community and has become a regular viewer here on Gen X Grown Up. And he dropped me an email saying, have you seen this stuff over at Wholesaler Petra? I never heard of Petra. And when you look at the site, I'll show you some screenshots here. You'll see that when you jump into the site, first of all, and you search for My Arcade, you start scrolling and you see all the usual suspects. You see all the Pocket Players and Micro Players and the Picos and the Nanos and the Gamer Vs and the stupid Pixel Player, all that stuff that we've seen. It would be easy to gloss over. But if you keep scrolling, you start to run into some more stuff. For example, you'll spot the two Atari listings, well, three Atari listings. Let's talk about these first two first, which is the Pocket Player and the Micro Player. Now, we know these say $39.99, these say 100 Atari games, but we know, unless it's changed, right? It doesn't list like versions, but from what we know before, these are Atari 2600 handhelds and Micro Players. And you'll notice that they've changed their name now to Micro Player Pro and Pocket Player Pro. I don't know why that is, except I have an idea why that is, and we'll get to in a second when we get to the Micro Players. However, you'll also notice another thing we hadn't heard about in a long time, and that's the Gamestation Plus. Well, it's not the Gamestation Plus anymore. It's now the Gamestation Pro. All right, and listing for $99, which we knew. And also, it now says in the listing, built-in paddles. Now, as I recall, there was a lot of speculation about, are you going to rotate the top of that thing? They verified no. Look, one of the things we talked about early on at the Gamestation Plus was if you're going to have paddle games, you need a good paddle. And it looks like they now do have a paddle built in. Or maybe I'm misremembering. It was going to be rotating the stick the whole time. I don't know. Point is, the listing now says it's going to have paddles. So new name, verified price, and there's going to have some kind of paddle, which is pretty cool. So now that the Pro thing is kind of out there and I discovered that stuff, I narrowed my search in for My Arcade Pro, and boom, here's a bunch of the stuff that we wanted to know. Let me start by talking about the micros that pop up. And these are the ones that I speculated, why would you re-release Galaga and Miss Pac-Man and Pac-Man and all these things unless you're going to do the premium edition sort of thing? And it sounds to me like Pro might be the new name for the genuine arcade line of Micro Players. Now that's going to blow up in your face when you start to look at, well, a Gamestation doesn't have Pro and this Mega Man thing doesn't have Pro. I know, but by and large, it looks like Pro is going to be this next tier. And in the case of arcade games, maybe genuine arcade games. So that's hopeful. Not just NES ROMs. We've had enough of that, and I don't see a lot of that here. When I look at these micros, here are the things that jump out at me. 2.75-inch vertical screen. Why else would you have a vertical screen but to accommodate a vertical arcade game? And the description doesn't say genuine arcade game, it just says licensed, officially licensed. Of course it's going to be licensed, you're selling it. But is it going to be the real arcade game? I'm waiting to find out. I can't imagine what you would cram in a vertical screen but the arcade game, but remains to be seen. And also in the listings, here's what we see. We see Pac-Man and Galaga and Street Fighter 2, which has a couple Street Fighter titles in it. Mega Man, which we knew of, and in this case, the Mega Man is actually 1 through 6. And it is same 2.75-inch screen, but horizontal, which makes sense because this was likely going to be NES ROMs for Mega Man. That makes good sense. And then there's a Tetris. Now, I don't remember seeing a Tetris on the floor at CES, but it's always going to beg the question, what version of Tetris? Because the arcade version of Tetris isn't the one people most know, but it's the one that I want. I mean, I want that original arcade Tetris. And I don't think My Arcade ever put out a Tetris. Arcade Classics did, Basic Fun, back when they were doing this, but... Okay, then we have the Pocket Players, and these are, again, Pocket Player Pro. They look to be a little, narrower. They're not quite as wide, but they have the exact same dimensions, screen, 2.75 inches. Why would you have a vertical screen, but have a vertical source? And here I saw listed the same titles, but I didn't see the... I didn't see the handheld Mega Man. It might have been there, but I think it was advertised at CES. But I did see for sure a Pac-Man, a Galaga, Tetris again, and Street Fighter. Now, that one's going to be horizontal, not vertical, but it's the same 2.75-inch screen. So all those renamed Pro, and all of those... Look, in news, we're supposed to learn the who, what, when, why, where, how. We don't know the when. The when we don't. We know how much. These are all like $39.99. We know late summer is what we heard. We actually heard they're going to start hitting reviewers by early June. Well, here's early June, and I don't have a shipping verification yet. The other thing that's worth noting is that joystick player, they're calling it, the Galaga joystick player. Now, they don't have a picture on the website, but I have a picture I can show you from the CES floor. Maybe changed a little bit, but here's what it looked like before. We now know this is going to have a 3.2-inch vertical screen with that grip stick controller. And it says including at least Galaga and Galaxian. Now, it doesn't list anymore. I don't know what else you would throw on there. Gorf, of course, but that's not going to happen in this player, I'm sure. That's the one that really sticks out at me as being the weirdest, because why would you play Galaga with that big kind of yoke? I want to do it. I want to try it, but it's a novelty. I mean, that's why you would do it. And look, interesting here also is what's not listed, right? The omission. I know that we saw a Ms. Pac-Man in a vertical layout at CES. I know we saw a couple other things there. Those aren't listed here. So what does that mean? Does that mean they pared down the listings? Does that mean maybe there's more to come? Does that mean maybe they changed their mind, they're going to release it later? Or maybe my contact at My Arcade will finally spill the beans to me and tell me what's going on here so that we can put some context, put some texture and shading onto this raw information that we have. As soon as I do hear back from My Arcade with more authoritative information, what am I going to do? I'm going to share it with you right here on GenXGrownUp. Like you, I'm looking forward to this new product. After such a drought, we got those Picos and Nanos and nothing for a while, and then CES was a blow up. I got to think it's coming soon. So stay tuned. I'll throw some links over my shoulders here and here to some of the other videos that I mentioned that you might want to explore a little deeper. I certainly hope you found something to enjoy in this quick video. Can't wait to talk to you again, though, next time. Bye-bye.